everybody to Door 19 Advice for You from Two Complete Strangers. I'm Jamal.
I'm LaShondra.
Welcome.
Hey.
Today we're doing not that we're doing anything different. We've received a few questions that kind of surround the same thing, and it's about marriage and relationships. How to be in a successful, relationship or marriage. So what we're going to do is we're going to just combine all of those and put them into one particular bowl, and just talk about that today.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Makes sense. So I got pen and paper today because we want to just go over a few very specific key points to a successful marriage or committed relationship that you may be in. So we have very specific points that we will make today, and I suggest that either you of course this video will be here for you to go and look back over again, or you may also take notes or get your phone and put in things, maybe record things that within your phone that you hear that stick out to you that will be of benefit to you. So
yeah. Perfect.
Okay, so this is all about secrets to a successful marriage or committed relationship that you may be in. And do you want to tell them why we call it secrets to
secrets because everybody doesn't know this information, I would say everybody is somewhat shaded. They're veiled by it. We all know this information. Is just sometimes we have to hear things in a different way to kind of spark and remember it. You know what I mean? So it's not we're not saying we got the answer to this particular thing, but we are saying we got the answer to this particular thing. So don't not hear me. We just want to drive home that, and I mean just by the slew of emails alone about how do I have a good relationship, and how do I continue to or how do I have a good marriage, how do I find the perfect partner, all of these kind of things surround the same thing. And because of this being a question that everybody hears, it seems like all the time, that lets people know that you're not clear on the information. So we just want to give our perspective, of course, our experience, our understanding on how to successfully be in a committed marriage or relationship. So,
yeah. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started with one of these first keys, and one of them is expectations. So I ask that you consider, what are your expectations in this relationship that you're in, or possibly what were your expectations going into the relationship. Oftentimes a lot of people will have this idea, whether it's maybe a dream, or if you want to say a certain vision of what they think marriage will look like, or going into this relationship with a particular person will look like. And then once they're actually in it, then they find that it may be a little bit different than what they had envisioned. So to me, I think it's best to get clear on maybe what you had envisioned, and that you weren't taking pieces from what somebody else was saying about marriage, or what you saw in another relationship and you said, oh, I want mine to be just like that, because that can get you in a lot of trouble.
And my perspective is like, get clear on what it is, what type of relationship that you want first. Get as clear as you possibly can. And what that really means is you're getting to know you more. Get clear on who you are and on what you like. And when we say like, we're coming from a real whole place. So not anything, I like ice cream on Sundays. No, I mean, what is it that you like? What is it that is inherently your character? That you desire to be in your world, your experience. You got to get clear on yourself, really before you can really go any further.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And then also with that expectations, what did you or what do you expect from your significant other? So a lot of times we have expectations that we've put on the other person, and the other person has no idea that this is what you're expecting from them. Also, just be mindful that your expectations aren't something that's extreme or that is or crazy. Like I expect every day for you to massage my feet when I come home.
Yeah.
And then you get mad when they don't massage your feet. Now I know that's silly, but that's an expectation that sometimes people have. And I'm just giving a simple example of expectations that we put on each other, and then when the person don't do it,
Right.
then we get mad about it. So I would say examine your expectations and, see if it's something reasonable. And if it is, then maybe you can express that to them and let them know, well, I kind of like it when we can do these things together, or I expect you to help take care of household duties,
Right.
or I expect you to be willing to watch the kids so that I can have some free time. Things like that. These are expectations that we have within ourselves that we don't express. We just assume that the other person is going to know that this is what you want.
Right.
And, assumptions,
Yeah.
I don't know that phrase, but
Or
it's
the mother of all mess ups with the F.
yeah, okay, that's what
Yeah.
it is. Okay, so we don't want to move into that phase of expectations without expressing it, which leads to assumptions that most often are not fulfilled.
Exactly. And it gives your partner the freedom to understand you a little more. You know what I mean? It allows them to say, okay, I may not like this. I may not have ever been a part of this type of relationship or this thing in a relationship, but I understand that this is what they are. This is inherently a characteristic that they enjoy and that is a part of them. So, okay, I could see, I like playing basketball on Saturdays at 6, you know what I mean? She doesn't, or whatever, you know what I mean? Or he doesn't, so it's like, you give them an opportunity to get to know you and to know you even in areas that aren't comfortable or you don't particularly care about, you know what I mean? So it helps with breaking the selfish moments, you know what I mean? You're gonna, that's not to say you're gonna enjoy them going off to play basketball at 6, but you understand this is a part of their character, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we always got compromise, but we're talking about the importance of expectations of knowing who you are, and then the expectations of giving your partner that part of you that they need to know, and then you can kind of go from there.
Yeah, and that kind of leads to the next point that is good to make, which is about working together. So just like you used the example of somebody going to go play basketball, and maybe the wife doesn't necessarily like it, but they understand that this is what, maybe the other person does it for exercise, or they like the friendships that they have with their friends when they go play, or it's a time to get away. So you work together on those things, you compromise, and you are able to express clearly and with your spouse that understands these things. So working together is so important in any relationship that you're in, whether it's marriage or a friendship or a long-term relationship that you're in. It's so important to work together, and of course working together involves both people.
Right.
So sometimes you may hit a couple bumps in the road with that if the other person isn't so willing to work together, but that just gives you an opportunity to continue to be moldable and willing to just kind of let it ride out a little bit.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything on that. Because I think it's going to be in a couple other points. There's a big point that we're getting at. So just stay tuned.
Okay, let's see. Let's go to communication. I know that's a big one that people always say when they ask the questions of how do you make a relationship work? How have you stayed together for so long? Even when you hear couples who have been married 30, 40, 50 plus years, you know, when you start getting into those couples, then most of the time they'll say, you know, that the number one key for them was communication. But we want to point out what kind of communication is going on in your relationship. Is this a kind of snarky communication where, well, I said what I wanted to say, you know, and I got my feelings out kind of a thing, but you're not listening to the other person and you're not being respectful to the other person and vice versa. So what kind of communication is really going on within your relationship is important to take a look at and to see not only are you communicating, but how are you communicating with each other.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing in communication is you have to understand that your partner is telling you something about themselves. Mm-hmm. They may not come out and say it as clearly as they can, but they're telling you something. So when you are kind of attackful or reactionary in your response to them, then you're not really listening to them. And when you don't listen, or when you're not able to listen, then you never get to the point. You never get down to the bottom line. Mm-hmm. And most cases, the bottom line won't be comfortable for the other person. Again, because it goes back to those expectations or those, or even the working together. You have one partner has a specific characteristic that's really not you. You know what I mean? You don't do that particular thing, but that's okay. But when you don't allow yourself the platform to see clearly that this is what they're saying, this is who I am, this is what's going on with me, this is why I don't like this. When you're not able to get in that space, then you'll never be able to hear them. And then what happens is you'll think what they're saying to you is nonsense, or they're attacking you, and then they'll hear what your response or your reaction was as an attack. So nobody gets clear on what really is being said to the other partner. Mm-hmm. So that is so very important to get clear on, is that communication is not always easy, but you have to listen to what's really being said. Yeah. And then sometimes that takes you asking some more deeper, what are you really saying here? Mm-hmm. Do you really not like my cooking? Or are you saying something else? You know what I mean? So 9 times out of 10, it's not that the person doesn't like their cooking. If we're talking about that, maybe they like chicken 5 days a week. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, instead of saying, I like chicken 5 days a week, they may get a reaction that generates a conflict because you making some spaghetti. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, it's these little nuances and these little silly little things that really mean a lot. But you can only get down to the bare brass of them when you communicate effectively and you listen and you understand exactly what they're trying to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. That's perfect. That's a perfect way to say it. Okay, ready to move on? All right. Let's see. Let's go to one of the next keys to a successful marriage is seeking peace and happiness within and for yourself.
Uh-oh. That's the biggie.
That's a big. You want to start?
This is the most critical thing to understand. You think communication is bad. This all ties into the communication a little bit, but this is the key. This is the key. This is the gold. Most all relationships do not work because we all go into the relationship trying to fix the other person or finding aspects of the other person that don't match or don't line up to what you like. But the truth of the whole matter is you have to understand that any successful marriage or relationship has 100% to do with you. And what that means is it's how you see in the other person. It's what you don't like. It's what you like. It's what you think is happening. It's what you assume. It's what you perceive, of course. What's your you know, what it's always about what you think is going on. It's really always about your happiness. But and the same goes for the other person. It's always about the same things for them, their happiness, their assumptions, their perceptions, all of these kind of things. But what we're not clear on is you got two individual people who are totally different experiences. And this has nothing to do with, you know, I got a soulmate and we like the same things. That has nothing to do with it. You can like the same things and be totally different.
Right.
Your experiences in life can be totally different, and those things are the ones that build your perceptions, you know, around anything. So we walk into our relationships, and we can only see from our eyes. So, but our eyes are looking at somebody else as if this external thing is the actual problem. But the problem is, it's how you view things. You can take two. Take an oak tree. Some people have good memories under oak trees. Maybe they had picnics with their family in the summer. Maybe that's what they kissed their first girlfriend or whatever like that. Maybe they have good memories under the oak tree. But somebody under that same oak tree or under the oak tree, they got raped. So somebody got beat up. You know, somebody experienced something very bad. So that oak tree looks totally different to them and to you. So you have to come into the relationship knowing that I'm entering into a committed relationship, knowing that I'm taking on the journey of being healed. So you have to be healed.
Right.
You jump on in. I don't want to do all the talk. This is some good stuff, though.
It is good. No, well, you already know I agree with that, because I think what a lot of times what happens is you start to look to the other person to fill the voids that you have within yourself. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you start to say, well, this person doesn't do this enough to make me feel like this. So yes. When you do that, then all you're doing is you don't want to put in that kind of load on anybody else, because that's on you. That's up to you. You know, I had heard someone say that, you know, being married or being in a long-term relationship is just icing on a cake to your life. Mm-hmm. So meaning that you're already fine with who you are, with or without this person, you know, and that this person does not complete you. This person right. is a great, wonderful, beautiful addition to your life and to who you are and to what you desire to experience, you know, here in life. Mm-hmm. But don't ever look to the person to be your total source of fulfillment or of happiness or making you feel good, because just as much as that person can make you feel good, they can also make you feel bad when you give them that much room or space to do so. Yeah, that much power to do that. So, you know, I think I encourage you, do not look to that person to be your source of happiness, to be your completeness in life, to be that one thing that is your everything. You know, I know these are all cliche things that we say and that they sound nice and pretty at the moments. They may sound good at weddings or, right. you know, in poems and all of that. But the whole of it is what you just said, that at the very beginning what you said about that this is really about you, you know, and that's not meant in a selfish way, but your life is your life. You are who you are, and it's up to you to continue to develop and to grow and to become everything that you are to be. And once again, your partner, your spouse, your husband or wife, they are a great, beautiful addition to everything else that you already are and that you're striving to be. I mean, you know, you don't come into a relationship complete, whole, perfect, fixed, and everything.
Just a quick example for me, and I kind of tell this story, you know, a lot in the different places that we go to talk. And what this looks like is, you know, for those of us who like, okay, what are you guys getting at? What does this look like, or how can I start the change to me working on myself? for me, one good example is like I remember a time when I was, because of my past experiences, I was assuming that my wife was doing things that she wasn't, but I couldn't see the light for nothing. So one day or one night, I was sitting, in our room, and I was just kind of, my mind was going 1,000 miles, and it was all coming up with blames or assumptions to how I was feeling in that moment, trying to blame her, and until I realized that, okay, nothing is changing with the way I'm feeling right now. Why can't I sleep? Why do I continue to have these images in my mind? What's really going on? So then I remember I sat at the edge of my bed, and I asked God. I said, what's wrong with me? What am I doing that is allowing this continuation of images and thoughts to not stop? And then I remember after I said that, I was able to sleep. And then the next day I got the answer. And the answer was all about me. It was what I experienced in my life that put these false negative images in place. And when I was able to see it clearly for exactly what I was just given, it started the undoing. I like that word, the undoing. Mm-hmm. It started the unraveling of all of the negative thoughts and the negative experiences that led me to react in moments, with my wife or any other relationship for that matter. It brought clearly why I was reacting or responding in certain ways. So I was able to work from that point to undo and unravel all the mess that had been created from my past experiences. So this is very important and it's very key. So ask the right questions. Ask God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. Ask God the right questions, and you'll get the answer that you need. Is going to start you to undoing, to healing, and bringing about a whole new you, man. And then it's gonna be able to affect your relationship in relationships in a grand way.
Mm-hmm. I think that's so true, and that even leads us to the next point, which is allowing yourself and in the relationship that you're in to grow. I had just mentioned about you don't enter into a relationship perfect or completely even knowing who you are at that time. Especially really it doesn't matter. I was going to say you can enter into a relationship in your teens or early 20s or something, and then you continue together, so you continue to grow. But it doesn't matter if you enter into that relationship and you're 30, 40, 50 plus years old. You still may not know exactly who you are or who you're striving to become. Yeah. So you have to give yourself the room to grow and to evolve and to learn and to develop, and even to develop your thoughts and your likes and your dislikes, and not only give yourself that room, but give your partner that same respect of that room. Don't just be so rigid on what you think or how you think things should look or how you think you should be, how you think your relationship should have progressed by now, because when you do that, then you start to enter into dangerous territory of, once again, back to these expectations. You start to label so many things with a time frame of when you think these things should be done, how you think this person should be doing it. Even with yourself, you put these limits on yourself also. So just allow yourself and the relationship as well as your other to grow.
Yeah, and you're never on a journey to find the perfect partner. You're really on a journey to be the perfect partner. If there's even a certain word, if that's a good word, let's just say it is right now. You're never on a journey to find the perfect partner. You're on a journey to become the perfect partner, and that's just it.
Yeah. All right. Next key here, what is your view of yourself, your spouse, and your relationship? So we ask that you just take a look at that. Consider it. What is your view of yourself, your spouse, and your relationship? So meaning, how do you see yourself? How do you see your relationship? And does that mean that do you see it negatively? Do you always see yourself as that you have a bad relationship, or that you're not a good wife, or that you're not a good husband, or that vice versa? Do you feel that your relationship is not as good as this person's relationship? Do you often compare yourself to someone else? Do you compare your relationship to someone else's relationship? All of these are views that they're not beneficial to you. You know, really in the long run, they only pull you down and make you either feel bad about yourself, or they make you start to judge, you know, your husband or your wife or boyfriend or girlfriend, because, you know, we tell stories to each other about my husband did this. He bought me a dozen roses, girl. Okay, that's fine if you want to share that, but then you automatically start to say, my husband doesn't do that for me. Maybe he don't love me. Maybe he, you know. So this is how you start to view your relationship with your husband, and then you start to put these expectations on him that he doesn't even know that you've put on him, which turns into you not communicating, and then turns into you being mad. You can be mad that whole weekend over something that the other person has no idea about, you know, but because you have started to view it in this way, then it has led you to more trouble than good.
And I would just say that, you know, as you're working on yourself to be healed from yourself, from your own experiences, these are good indicators that, okay, you got some more work to do. When you find yourself judging, when you find yourself labeling, always externally, you know what I mean? These are just indications that it's like an oil light. When you drive in your car and the oil light comes on, it's not that your car is getting ready to break down. It's just telling you that, okay, this is an indication that you have to look at something quickly, you know, or soon. So these are just indication marks that, okay, this is an area that I need to pay a little bit more attention to. But the great news is, people always say that these things take a long time. You're going to do a life. This is a life work. The life work is just surrendering, just to allowing yourself to get past one moment to the next moment. But once you realize that this is what I've done, oh, this is how I've been, this is why this happened, or why this is why I see this, because of this particular experience that you had. Once you're able to get clear on what's going on, the work started. And it doesn't take as long as you really think. It doesn't take long at all. You know, it's always a process. It's always, you know, again, we talk about journey. It's always going to be a journey, but a journey into becoming, you know. But don't get, or don't find yourself overwhelmed with hearing things that you think is going to take you forever. No,
right.
It's not at all. You just got to get clear on a couple of things, and then you're being reborn at that moment. Yeah. So we've covered all for today, at least. Just a few of the keys that we have learned and that have helped us out, and we know that it will help you out too if you can start to apply these things and, you know, consider them and look to see if this is also to see if this is a relationship that you want to be in, to apply these things. And even if it's not in your marriage or in your relationship, they're going to be beneficial to you just in life in general, if you can kind of take them for that. But also just know that if you have any other questions, we are here for you at Door 19. You can email those questions to us at door19adviceforyou@gmail.com. And did you want to? Well, I wanted just to say, we want you to tune in next week, because we're going to talk about one of the major keys and components to why you have a destructive or an unsuccessful marriage or committed relationship or relationship period. So it's a huge nugget that, you know, you want you want to definitely understand. So tune in next. We usually air this on Wednesday, but we wanted to do something different, you know, for some other reasons. But just tune in next week and see the monster that's been hiding in your closet. So,
Yeah. So also don't forget to just share this video with someone else that you feel maybe they've been asking you or they've been talking to you about their relationships and you feel that this could be beneficial to them as well. So don't forget to do that.
until next Wednesday. Thanks.
See ya.